If you've ever rented a house in a quiet American suburb, you probably think the woods behind it are peaceful, maybe even beautiful. But for me and my younger sister, those woods didn't just hold animals, old trails, or abandoned junk. They held something that knew our names, something that waited until the house went dark, something that still follows me to this day. My family moved to upstate New York in the fall of 2018. My dad had gotten a job in Albany, and instead of living inside the city, my mom wanted a quieter place, somewhere with big yards, tall trees, and no noisy neighbors. We ended up renting a 2-story house at the very end of a dead-end road. Behind the house stretched acres of forest, dark, dense, and untouched. It wasn't a park or trail or anything official. Just pure woods, owned by nobody in particular. The first day we arrived, the landlord said something strange. He handed my dad the keys, but kept staring at the tree line behind the house. "You have kids, right?" he asked slowly. My dad nodded. The landlord continued, "Tell them not to go too deep into the woods. People get lost out there. And sometimes things wander close to the house." He said it like a warning, but didn't explain further. We all laughed it off. We shouldn't have. The first night. My bedroom was upstairs, facing the backyard and the woods. That first night, long after everyone had gone to bed, I heard something tapping on my window. Not knocking, not scratching, tapping. Like someone gently pressing their fingernail against the glass. I froze. The curtains were drawn, but the silhouette behind them was tall, too tall to be a person standing on the ground. After about 10 seconds, the tapping stopped. I built up just enough courage to peek through the curtain. Nothing. Just darkness and trees. I eventually convinced myself it had been a branch or maybe a squirrel. I was wrong again. The figure at the back tree line. Day 3. My sister Emily was 13 years old at the time, always cheerful, always curious. On the third day, she came running to me with her phone. "Look, look, look," she said breathlessly. "I saw a person in the woods." I grabbed her phone. The picture was blurry, but you could clearly see a tall figure standing at the tree line. Too thin, too still, no visible face. I said, "You probably caught a hiker or something." But even as I said it, I didn't believe it. There were no hiking trails behind our house. No paths, no reason for anyone to be back there. That night, I told my parents. They brushed it off. But I didn't. Because around 2:30 a.m., I woke up to that same tapping on my window again. Only this time, it wasn't gentle. It was harder, sharper, faster. Like someone running their fingernails back and forth aggressively across the glass. I didn't look. I couldn't. The screams in the woods. Week 1. After about a week in the house, strange things became normal. We kept hearing noises in the woods, especially after sunset. Sometimes it sounded like footsteps, sometimes branches snapping, sometimes whispering. But the worst were the screams. They weren't human. They weren't animals either. They were somewhere in between. Long, high-pitched, painful wails that echoed through the trees and shook the windows. My dad called animal control. They told him the same thing. Probably a fox. But foxes don't scream words. And on the 8th night, I swear, I heard one of the screams say, "Come here." I didn't sleep the rest of the night. The basement door. The first truly terrifying thing happened the following Tuesday. Around 11 p.m., I went downstairs to grab water. The house was quiet. My parents had gone to bed early, and Emily had fallen asleep watching YouTube. I reached the bottom of the stairs and immediately froze. Our basement door was wide open. Now, this door was always locked. My dad kept tools and expensive equipment down there, and the latch made a loud metallic sound when opened. But tonight, the door was open just enough for complete darkness to spill out. As I got closer, something came up from the basement. Not a person, not an animal. A smell. Wet soil, rotting leaves, and something else, like breath, hot and foul. I stepped back slowly. The basement staircase creaked, like someone was climbing up. Step, step, step. I backed up to the living room, heart racing. Then, the basement door slammed shut violently, on its own. I didn't sleep at all that night. Emily discovers the cave. The next day was worse. Emily convinced me to walk with her a little bit into the woods, just far enough to find mushrooms or cool rocks for her school project. Honestly, I didn't want to go, but she begged and I didn't want her going alone. We walked maybe 200 feet into the forest when she suddenly stopped. "What's that?" she said, pointing ahead. It was a hole, a large, dark opening in the ground, almost like a small cave. The dirt around it was disturbed, like something had crawled in or out recently. Emily started to walk closer. "Stop!" I yelled, grabbing her arm. She looked offended. "What? It's just a cave." I didn't know how to explain it, but everything inside me screamed that this was wrong, that this place wasn't natural, that whatever was tapping at my window came from here. We both stared at the hole. Then, the ground inside shifted, very slightly. Something was down there, watching us. We ran home without speaking. Something knows our names. That night, around 3 a.m., I heard Emily's voice. "Stop! Please stop!" She sounded scared. I rushed to her room and found her sitting upright in bed, trembling. "What happened?" I asked. Her face was pale. She pointed at her window. "He was saying my name!" "Who?" I said. She shook her head fast. "I don't know, but he was right outside." I opened her curtains. Nothing. But the glass had fresh fingerprints. Long, thin, too many joints, like someone with unnaturally long fingers had pressed against it. We slept in the same room that night. Lights on. The wooden symbol. 2 days later, things escalated beyond anything we could ignore. I woke up to a knocking sound, not on my window this time, but on my door, inside the house. I sat up and listened. Knock, pause, knock. I opened my bedroom door. There was something placed neatly on the floor. A small wooden carving, like a symbol, made from sticks tied together with a thin black thread. Emily yelled from her room. She had the same exact carving in front of her door. The fear finally hit our parents. We weren't imagining things. My dad checked the locks. Every door and window was still locked. There was no sign of forced entry, no footprints inside. So how did the carvings get into our hallway? My mother started crying. My dad called the police. The police found something. 2 officers arrived around noon. They checked the house, checked the yard, checked the woods. Nothing. Until one of them walked toward the tree line and called us over. There were footprints. Bare footprints. Huge. Human-shaped but distorted, like the toes were too long and angled wrong. They circled the entire house and led straight to Emily's window. The officer's face changed completely. It looks like something was out here last night. My mom begged us to pack, but the landlord wouldn't cancel the contract without a penalty. And my dad didn't believe we were in actual danger yet. The police left. That night was the worst night of my life. The thing in the basement. Final night. The tapping started around midnight. Not at the window, not at the door, but under the floor. From the basement. Tap, tap, tap. Like someone was tapping the ceiling below my bedroom. I woke my parents. My dad grabbed a baseball bat and quietly opened the basement door. I stood behind him. There was breathing, loud, wet, animalistic, but also rhythmic, human. My dad took one step down. The breathing stopped. Everything went silent. Then, foot, 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 foot. Something sprinted up the basement stairs. Fast. Too fast. My dad slammed the door shut and locked it.